Okay, girls, we are going to start our lesson on parallel and perpendicular lines. This lesson is packed with information. So please make sure that you stop the video and take notes of everything that is in this presentation. I'm expecting that everything that I'm going to talk about should be in your notes book, okay? So please start with your title, parallel and perpendicular lines, double underline, put the date, and let's begin. So we're going to start talking about parallel lines, okay? So parallel lines, a pair of parallel lines are two lines that will not meet, even if they're extended forever. They will never intersect, okay? This word intersection, means that they're never going to cross, okay? They will never meet, okay? This means that they are the same distance apart for the entire length. This is a little bit annoying, sorry girls about this. Parallel lines are indicated in a diagram by lines with arrows on them. We're going to see this with an example in a minute, okay? So they're indicated by arrows in them. So here we have our example. So parallel lines are indicated in a diagram by lines with arrows on them. So I have here one line and another line, and these arrows means that they are parallel. And when we are talking about two lines, and the symbol that we use to mean that is parallel to will be these two lines, okay? So let's say I can say something like line A is parallel to line B. Okay, if I call that this was line A and this was called line B. Okay, wonderful. A transversal line. A line intersecting a pair or a set of parallel lines is called a transversal line. So if we look up here, I had two parallel lines, this black one and this black one, and I have a line that is intersecting it. Notice that in this case it's intersected in this angle, but it could be more perpendicular, it could be standing back a little bit more or less, it doesn't matter. Any line that will cut out two parallel lines, or that is intersecting two parallel lines, that is going to be called a transversal line. Wonderful. Before I stop this video, I just want to make sure girls, that you're writing everything that we have here. So parallel and perpendicular lines. Number one, parallel lines, copy these bullet points. Please highlight what I have highlighted here. Draw the example that I drew here. Write what I wrote here about line A parallel to line B, and write what it says here about transversal, the definition, and draw the example. Okay, wonderful. Number three, adjacent angles. So the angles next to each other are called adjacent angles. So notice that here I don't have any parallel lines. These we already have spoken about this, but we're just going to clarify. So let's look at what I have here. We can see that I have an angle that is called AOB. Agree? So I have an angle in here, this angle AOB, and that angle is adjacent to this angle BOC. So these two angles are adjacent because they are next to each other. Agree? I can also say that that first angle that I drew, AOB, B, the yellow one, is also adjacent to this angle here that I have, AOD, because they are next to each other. Okay? We agree with that? Wonderful. So if I started with this angle here, the yellow one that I had here, AOB, it has two adjacent angles that are BOC and AOD. Wonderful. Please copy this down and draw this example with highlighters as I have done in here. Now, going back to our parallel lines. We have two parallel lines and a transversal. The two parallel lines are in black, the transversal is in blue. And I just want to play here a little bit with colors. So let's start with this. I'm going to use a green in here. So if I start with this angle here, I want to draw which angles are adjacent to the angle that I just drew here as in green. So this blue one is going to be adjacent to it, agree? And this one is also going to be adjacent to that one. Perfect. Now, if I start here with this angle, for example, which angles are adjacent to this one? So if we look at here, I know that this one is next to it, so this one will be adjacent, and this one here in the bottom is going to be adjacent. Okay, we know, because we have done supplementary and complementary angles, we know that these two angles here, the green one and the yellow one, because they're in that straight line, they're going to be supplementary, and that means that they're going to add up to 180. Agree? And in the same way, these two angles that I have here that are adjacent to each other, they're also in that straight line, therefore they're also going to be supplementary. In the same way, these angles that I drew here in that straight line, they're also going to be supplementary. And finally, these ones that I have drawn in here are also going to be supplementary. Okay, so please copy this down as an example, and you can copy and say example 1 and say the green one and the blue one are going to be adjacent to each other, and they're also supplementary. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's go into our point 4. There are special relationships between angles formed between two parallel lines, and a transversal. So that's what we have been talking so far. Remember, we have our two parallel lines and a transversal. Okay, we're going to study the relationship between the angles that are formed by two parallel lines and this transversal line. So the first type of relationship that we're going to talk about is they're called vertically opposite angles. Okay, so let's read first the definition. If you don't understand 100% the definition, it doesn't matter, copy it down, then I'm going to do an example, and then you go back to what I have written as a definition and see if you understand it. So it says, the angles that are opposite each other are called vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles are equal in size. This is super important. They're vertically opposite angles are equal in size. So we're going to look at this. So I have here my two parallel lines in black, and I have my transversal in blue. Okay, and we can see here with this angle that they have used purple to name it here. This angle and this angle is what we call vertically opposite. Notice that they share the vertex, so that's why they're called vertically opposite. They share that vertex, and the ones that are on the opposite to each other, they're going to have the same, are going to measure exactly the same. So if that's true, that means that this one and this one that I'm going to call this one an x, and an x are also going to be the same in value. Agree? And if that's true, I can jump to the other side and also say that this one and this one are also going to be the same. Let's call this one a heart and this one a heart. And these two vertically opposite angles are also going to measure the same. And if I use another color, this one and this one, and I'm going to use an asterisk here, and this one are also vertically opposite, therefore they're going to measure the same. So please copy this diagram and write in your notes that these purple ones are what we call vertically opposite angles. And then do the same to indicate the x1, and I'm just going to call it vertically opposite angles. And the same happens with our heart. They're called vertically opposite angles. And then the same happens with our asterisks. Vertically opposite angles, and therefore they're all equal. Those pair are equal in size. Not that all of these ones are equal in size, no. Each pair are going to be equal in size. Wonderful. Please make sure that this is in your notes.